Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, Thailand is gravely concerned with the worsening hostilities and violence as a result of the use of military force in Ukraine, which has led to loss of life, including of innocent civilians, and destruction of property and civilian infrastructure.
I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Thailand.
The ASEAN foreign ministers issued a statement on the situation in Ukraine. Since then, armed hostilities continue and casualties, including those of civilians, continue to rise. The humanitarian situation of refugees and those fleeing fighting is particularly worrying. Thailand commends Ukraine's neighboring countries and other states for their prompt actions in mobilizing assistance to those in pressing humanitarian needs. On our part, Thailand shall do our utmost in addressing the urgent humanitarian needs of the affected citizens directly and in partnership with like-minded international organizations. Thailand adheres to the principles enshrined in the United Nations Charter and international law. In particular, respect for the sovereignty, territorial integrity, and political independence of states, and refraining from the use of force or threat of use of force against another state. We thus call for the immediate cessation of violence and armed hostilities. The escalation of the situation will cause wider impacts for the world, aggravate humanitarian conditions, and threaten the well-being of the global economy, hampering the fragile recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Thailand thus renews our call for dialogue and negotiations in order to find a peaceful settlement and sustainable solution through the United Nations, regional mechanisms, and other mutually acceptable modalities. In this regard, we welcome the recent efforts at bilateral talks between the parties concerned and look forward to them bearing fruitful results. As a peace-loving country, Thailand has an abiding faith in the goodwill among nations and the compassion of humanity. We will therefore continue to hope that the path of peace, reconciliation, and good neighborliness will ultimately prevail. Thank you.